Hello Internet, welcome to second video of MERN tutorial series. In first video, I reviewed requirement of the project we are going to build and demoed prototype with user journeys. Shared links to install VS Code and Node.js. Watch the first video in case you missed it. I assume you have VS Code and Node.js installed, so let's get cracking. So I have the blank VS Code editor open. Now first let's check if we have the Node.js installed properly. So for that you can click on the terminal, new terminal or ctrl+s. This opens up the command line terminal here. So to check if Node.js is installed properly and it is configured, we can use this command node version. So on my machine I have 16.2 version. So if you get any error, that means either the node installation is not correct or the path variable is not set. Please go back and install the Node.js and set the variables as per instruction given in the first link. So once the VS Code and Node.js installations are done, first review what is this Node.js and its place in our project development. What is Node.js? Node.js is an open source and cross-platform runtime environment. It popularized server-side JavaScript programming. Before Node.js, JavaScript was primarily for client-side programming, where it primarily lived in the browser side. So that meant if we want to build a full stack end-to-end application, so on server side we needed to use either PHP or Java or Python or any other such server-side programming languages. So knowing JavaScript as a language was not sufficient at that time, and Node.js changed that paradigm. What are the strong points of Node.js? The first is Node.js is very performant as it uses V8 engine. V8 engine is the same engine which drives Google Chrome browser. This Node.js is pretty low level. Uh, you can write any code on the server side to on directly Node.js. However, what makes the Node.js even more suitable for server-side programming is the availability of open source community built packages. At the time of recording this video, there were approximately a million open source packages available on NPM. That means these open source packages are available for you to download and you can start using it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So one of the packages which we will use is Express. Now let's create project folder structure. Switching to VS Code, go to File, create a open folder. So on desktop, I'll create a new folder. I'll call it MERN Book Club and select folder. So this folder is open in VS Code now. Then let's create two more subfolder, one for front end and one for back end. So we will be having two projects, one for front end and one for back end. So that's why we have two subfolders here. And we will start off with building the backend project now. In the introduction, we reviewed that Node.js and NPM provides several open source packages. So we will be using several of those. These packages will abstract away low level details. Over the period of time, these packages will get enhancements and will get bug fixes from their creators. So those versions of those packages will be different in the future than what we are using now. We need to have a mechanism to track the package dependencies of our project. Let's go to the terminal. We are at this merge type book club level. Let's cd into backend. We have an npm command called npm init, and it has an optional flag yes, which will set all the variables, all the flags to default. Now let's see the package.json created. We have all these defaults, we can change it later. So this package.json is a manifest file for our project. It's keep track of package dependencies, and it also has scripts. So we will come back to this package.json over a period of time when we keep building the projects, and we'll start utilizing each of these parameters. Let's install the first package we are going to use in our project. That's Express. And npm provides an easy command to install any package. The command is npm install and the package name, and there is an optional flag save. Express got installed. There are a couple of changes we can observe. First, on package.json, this new key value pair of dependencies and the packages installed are listed and it is created. This object will keep updated when you install any new packages. So this is how package.json helps us to have this dependency tracked when we move this project from one place to another place. Second is we got this node modules folder created, and all the packages and all the dependencies of Express got installed in this. So any further installation of packages, all of them will be saved here in node modules at the root level of the project. The second thing about the package.json is this main key value pair. So index.js is the main entry point for a node application. So this is the default value. If for any reason you want to change it to say app.js, or you don't want this main entry point to be at the root level, if you want it to be at some other folder level, all those things can be changed here. We will stick to this default. Next thing is you observe a package -log.json. This is the file automatically created, and this is for production build. We will not be tinkering with this package log.json. Whatever changes we need to make, we will be making that in package.json. As we are sticking with the default entry point of index.js, let's create that file now. Express is installed. Now we need to get Express functionality in our project. Node handles this via require and export construct. So let's get Express first, and we call the return value of Express as Express. Note, Express doesn't have a folder or path. It is just a named export as it is node installation. Next, we need to call the express function, and the return value we will call it as app. These are the standard nomenclatures when we use express. To spin up web server, it's as simple as calling another function on app called listen. Listen takes a port number and a callback function. So once it is successful, the callback function is called. Let's just log the message now. Let's save as ctrl+s, and to run the index file, the command is node index.js. Okay, so now Express is running, the web server is running. Let's open a browser and navigate to the 4000 port on our local host. So getting we're getting an error message. It's saying cannot get. The reason for this is whenever we navigate to any browser, any URL, the browser fires get method, and in our application we have not defined the get method on the slash route. So let's handle that now. So for that, Express provides another method called route, and we can define all different routes here. And we need to write a get method to handle the get request. So the get method itself has a callback function. That callback function gets access to two objects, request and response. So for now, let's just send a status, say 200. That means everything is good, and send a message, hello. So let's save it. We need to terminate the web server. The command for that is ctrl+c, and let's run the server again. The server is running fine. Let's refresh the browser. We get hello message. Just for muscle memory, let's write one more route. Let's say for about, and again get method. Get method has two callback function with two parameters at least. We can get another parameter called next. So here let's send 200 with a different message. Save, ctrl+s, on the terminal ctrl+c to stop the server, up arrow to go to the previous command. Let's run it again. Okay, refresh the page. This is working fine, and let's go to about and this about message. So this portion will, in our application we will be doing file uploads, and that's where we will use these methods of different endpoints and different REST APIs. So let's just put a comment for ourselves that we will be coming back to this for file upload functionality. Let's save it. At this point, Express looks like a black box. It doesn't have to be. We have the source code right here. Let's be a little curious and explore it. Okay, so here in the node modules, we have this Express, and in Express, let's expand. Uh, at least the two things should be familiar to us, the package.json and index, which we also used in our application code so far. Let's explore the package.json. Remember, in our package.json, we used all the default parameters. Let's see this real world example of package.json and how it is used. It's saying the name, the description, version, who are the authors, contributors, license, the keywords, and several other parameters. So this should give you a very good example of what each of these parameters are and how they are used. Another thing to note here is when we install this Express, we got all these packages. However, we requested for only one package. The reason for that is if you see the dependencies, the Express itself has dependency on so many other packages. And these packages themselves might have dependencies on other packages, and so on and so forth. So this npm and this package.json resolves all the dependencies, and all the dependency packages or libraries are installed. And that's why when though we requested only one library at this time of Express, all other packages are also installed here. Okay, so let's go to the source code of Express index.js. So all the functionality which can be exported or which should be exposed to the outside world is done via module.exports, and that's what it's doing here. So it is going back to lib and express. Okay, so let's go to this lib subfolder and express. Let's explore this express. Here, if we scroll down a little bit, again, it is exporting the create application. If you see the create application, it has this app, it has request response, and it's creating request object, response object, it's initializing, and it is returning this app. So we used one of the methods called listen. So to get, we can find that listen method here in this application. Let's search for listen keyword. Okay, so here on the 616th line, you see the app.listen is a function which uses this http.createServer and it returns this HTTP server. Now, this HTTP is a Node core module. So Express is using this http.createServer method to initialize a HTTP server. So Express is not mandatory. We can very well use this HTTP and other Node Core modules to write all the functionality. However, this Express abstracts away all the low-level coding, and we can make use of this, and it speeds up our application development much smoother and much faster. So obviously, this is very, even not tip of the iceberg. This is at very high level walkthrough of the source code. But at least you should give 2 points for us to observe. One is that any library which we are using in Node need not be a black box. All the source code is here. At least we can explore and we can understand, try to understand what that functionality is doing. By doing so, we will be better consumers of these applications. Second is these libraries, some of these libraries are very old, very standard, and they're all time tested. So by going through this source code, we should be inspired to look at the code, look at how the code is organized, how the comments are made, how the variables are defined, so that we can follow this or implement such best practices in our own application code. That's wrap for today. Let's see you in the next video.